Hello, everybody. My name is Kitty, and I will be your host for today's live demo. We are here with Juan Ian, and he is going to show us some of his wonderful watercolor techniques today. And just a little bit of a reminder about today's tutorial. Well, actually, today is not a step-by-step tutorial. It is a demonstration. The step-by-step tutorial is for the mini workshop. But this demonstration is an opportunity to see Juan showcase his process. However, you are more than welcome to follow along today if you wish. And if you do want to follow along, if you click on the description underneath the video, you will see all the materials that Juan will be using today, and also the reference photo, which I am going to drop into the chat right now. So the link is in the chat right now. And also, please share today's link with your artist friends. They can join us, whether they join us now live or later on. And we do these free live demos just about every day. So please subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications to stay updated and alerted to when we go live. And our next demo is Monday, tomorrow, July 19th at 12 o'clock noon Eastern time with Rivka Williams. And she's going to be showing us how to do a misty forest using acrylic paints. So also, because Juan is going to be concentrating on working on his painting, if you have any questions, please put them into the chat. And if you would be so kind, please put them in all capital letters so that it's easier for me to see. If the question is relevant to what Juan is doing at the moment, then I will ask him at that time. If not, we will save it until the end, so during our question and answer session. And also towards the end, I'm going to be dropping in a link for our feedback survey. And that just helps us learn what kind of content you would like. Let us know how we're doing. If you have any suggestions, all of your comments are anonymous. So I will be dropping that in later, and it really helps us bring the content to you that we would like to show you. So from here, I'm going to hand it over to Juan, and he will tell you what we're going to do today.
Okay, thank you, Kitty, for the presentation. I'm so happy, so glad to be here. This is a great opportunity to show you my experience, but also my feeling, my personal journey, creative journey with the water and the pigments. I'll be painting a natural landscape. I hope you like it. So I will be working for almost 40 minutes, for 45 minutes, with a nice mountains, lakes, and trees and rocks, a lot of elements, trying to achieve the depth, the atmospheric perspective of a painting, the difference between the size of a painting and the dimension of the painting. Sometimes it has a lot to do with the distance, yeah, the distance between the background, the middle ground, and the foreground. And there's of course a lot of rules, a lot of technical rules in painting to achieve that. And what I'd like to show you now today is that it's like a dynamic relationship between the brush strokes and the forms, the shapes in painting, which will allow us to accomplish this beautiful atmospheric effect in painting. So hope you like the demo. Tell me, Kitty, if you would like to see some of my work, or I'd like to show you the materials.
Yes, please. That would be great.
Too. Yes.
Yep, that would be excellent.
Excellent. If you follow me, I'll change the camera. We'll go into this part of my room, my studio. I was working for the last 2 weeks with the Etchr sketchbook. This is a beautiful book, a beautiful I call it a book because it is. It's beautiful, really, really sturdy.
Juan,
And yes, tell
would you
me.
speak up just a little bit, please?
Okay.
Yes, that's better.
You
Thank
hear
you.
me better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I forgot to move the mic. I was working these sketches. The last, this is the one we're going to paint it again. And I really love this paper. It's a 100% cotton paper. So I made it in the park last week, this last week. And I have this one, and I also have another one, white. This is beautiful. I really love the quality of the material. I also have this great pearls pigment from Etchr. So I will use it later on this week. I hope so. And if you follow me, I'll show you one of my some of my paintings. I love to paint landscapes. I studied architecture a few years ago in my early 20s. So it's really it's a passion that I love to come back. I love to paint animals and create creatures and different worlds. This is a workshop. This is a painting done in a workshop. This is a nice Asian cityscape. Some perspectives, some aerial perspectives here. Also, we're going to talk a lot about these things in the mini workshop, how to achieve the distance between the things that are near and the background. Oh, a lot of nudes and bodies and anatomic works with water. I love painting leaf models, so this is also a great exercise to work the improvisation. It's okay, improvisation in painting, because the water is so fluid, and you have to control the shapes and the um, the borders. This is a plein air painting here in Buenos Aires in a nice square. Um, a little of urban sketches using a pen, right? Not a pencil. Another landscape.
These are so beautiful.
Thank you. I'm trying to show you a diverse, a nice diversity of my work, because I consider very curious about a lot of subjects. This was done live on a demo here in company with another friend and colleague last year. So it's nice to have a lot of interest. These are some notes, visual notes that I took on a dancing experience workshop that I took a few years ago. This is very personal, but I like to show it with you. For example, moments. You see moments, feelings that I have in my mind, in my heart, and I try to put it on paper, a little abstract, a little free and joyful paintings. There's another one here that I love here.
Oh,
It's like some mirror style.
It's wonderful. There are comments in the chat saying absolutely stunning, very diverse. I love it. Such
Thank you.
presence in his work. And what I personally notice is that no matter the subject matter, you can tell it's all from the same hand. It's you are in all of your paintings. This is amazing.
Thank you. This is great when another people tells you this is your style, right? Because everyone want to achieve their own way to say things, their own style, and the best is when another people tells you you are in all of it. So thank you so much. It means a lot of me, a lot to me. This is another sketchbook. This is a nice format.
Where did you find that? That is amazing.
This was made for a great master you have here in South America, Nicolas Lopez from Peru. He was selling this sketchbook. This is from a Peruvian cotton paper. And I really love to paint in this difficult and
yeah, that is
interesting
amazing
format. Yeah, yes, very nice to work the compositions, right?
I think it seems more realistic because I don't think we really notice how wide our natural vision actually is. But this kind of gives more of a natural wide vision for everybody.
Yes, I also try to paint these rough and strange shapes and paintings sometimes, just to practice the power of the ugly things, the power of the real beauty of the things, not just the cute and the the just to explore the deep beauty of the things, you know, not just to paint nicely, but to paint real and spontaneously. I think the beauty is in spontaneously in the spontaneous things, uh, and the water sometimes makes a shape to gain a lot of authority. You know, this is from Albert Castanets that sometimes he said that water has so much fragility that when it builds something, it does it with authority. And I thought it was a great thing to say.
Yeah.
So this is my world, and I have here we'll talk about later, no, the mini workshop subject.
Sure.
Okay, you tell me when you like me to show it.
Yep.
I'm preparing the sketchbook to paint. Sometimes I work with, if everything's okay. Yes, this is light. Great. Sometimes I work with a simple sheet of paper, and sometimes I love to do these sketches, these quick sketches. So I'll begin with the drawing. It's okay, Kitty? Can
Yes.
I begin?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I love to share my process, so you will hear me talk a lot. I hope my English is right for you to understand. I sketch the bones of the drawing. you know, the things that sustain and help me to understand the main shapes and the tension points, the focal points of this painting, of this subject. It's not a painting yet.
Juan,
Yes, tell me.
for the sake of the video, would you mind drawing just a little bit darker?
Yes, of course.
Just a little bit. Thank
Yes.
you.
Let me take. Mm, no.
I think it's good. We can see it now.
Yes, okay.
Yep.
Sometimes when I paint during the day, the camera kind of confuses
Yeah.
the light. It's common.
And Juan, what are you using to sketch right now?
This is a graphite pencil. It's a big pencil which allows me not to establish a lot of details, not to distract myself drawing things, but to just point out the major shapes, and I can press it, and for example I can draw a little harder. Maybe it's a good idea just you to see the elements. This is I used to use these pencils when I studied architecture, just to sketch the concept, the ideas of a project. So it's like a habit. You can see the reference down there. I will paint the reference, but I won't describe it the same way that you can see it. I will try to I don't know how to say it in English. Interpret. I will try to translate it to a painting language. Okay.
And Juan, are you left-handed or right-handed? We can't tell.
Yes.
Camera.
Left.
Left-handed. Okay, that's so. Okay.
Yes, I'm left-handed. Okay, I think the drawing is almost done. I can't forget some rocks here because they will allow me to achieve some depth, some perspective here. Here we go. This is my palette. I always start with water on it, so the pigment can be available.
I like how quickly that sketch came together.
Thank you.
I've been
So
looking. Sorry, go ahead.
No, tell me.
Oh no, it was just a comment. I was saying I've been looking for an excuse to buy one of those fat leaded pencils, and now I have one. So.
Yes. You can paint. You can draw. You can communicate a lot of things without having to draw them all. You know, this is very useful. So I begin washing the paper, the upper side of it.
And is that a squirrel hair?
It's a synthetic pen, a synthetic brush. but it's like a squirrel brush. It's like an imitation.
Hmm.
It's a Russian brand. I can show it,
Oh,
and I love it. I really love it because it works just like it was a natural animal hair, but it's not. It's,
and what
and
colors are you using right now?
great question. I'm using I usually use a mix of the previously used colors, as you can see, because um, I don't clean my palette. Let me see if I can. No, okay. I would like to show you better the colors of my palette. It's a little dark. Let me see if I can make it better. If I, okay,
Yeah, we can see it better now.
okay.
Yep.
I'm using cadmium yellow. This is yellow ochre, and this is permanent orange. These are three very warm colors. I'm establishing first the mood of the painting. I won't be concentrating in the shadows or the midtones. That's the first thing you have to do. So watercolor painting is to build a base, a nice base, upon which you can put the other layers. So the first thing is to wet the painting, the paper, sorry, and just to give the paper some information without trying to receive. It's like a relationship. You have to gain the trust of the paper, of the watercolor. You have to establish some things, hoping that in a couple of minutes the paper begin to give you back some information about how to continue, which way to continue. But in the first round, in the first step, I just try to establish a mood and nothing else. This is
And Juan, just so you know, we are about 25 minutes in.
okay. I switch the brush to another one a little smaller, just to establish these far mountains. We are talking about depth in watercolor, so I can't establish. Yes, tell me.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, everybody, if you're following along with us today, or if you're painting, we would love to see what you've done. And I'm sure Juan would like to see that too. So I'm going to drop in the hashtags and the links into the chat. You can tag Etchr Studio and Juan.Ian. We would love to see your creations.
Yes, of course. it's a great way to learn to take note visually, not just to see. So if you can do it, go for it.
Oh, and Juan, we have a question in the chat. Do you have your work at an angle or is it flat?
Great question. I am using these wood pieces because I can decide three different heights to to tilt the paper. And in watercolor, it's very important to tilt the paper when you are when you are painting natural scenes, because the shadows go down and it all seems so much natural. Yes. I am trying to solve first the problem of the background. It's like a problem you have to solve. You have to decide how to translate the information of the photo to a much synthetic view without looking so much at the picture. This is a great tip that I can share with you. You have to see 70% on the paper and 30% of the picture on the picture, because otherwise you can confuse your mind and start to stop trusting your painting, because obviously you can't paint everything you see, and you mustn't paint everything you see. You have to choose what to tell the people, what story to tell about this beautiful image. This is a personal approach, of course. I totally respect hyper-realistic artists, but I find so free choosing what I like to tell about an image. Well, okay, this is a nice mood. This is a nice mood.
We have a comment in the chat saying, "This is amazing. The flow of the brush takes me there."
Thank you so much.
And Juan, as we're coming up on the halfway point, would you like to share some information about the mini workshop that you're going to be doing?
Yeah, right. We're going to paint for about 1.5 hours. We're going to develop an interesting view of the city of Pinamar in Buenos Aires, Argentina. It's a beautiful coast city. And this is a painting I did from a photo that I took there. And hopefully, if you join me, you will understand how I conceive the depth in a landscape, in a natural landscape. And also, I have to tell Kitty that I am a little philosophical. It's okay.
Yeah.
When I paint, when I teach, also I love to share my spiritual view of the painting, of the symbolism of the relationship between the water and the pigments, and the relationship between the painting and the geology of our planet, because you don't have to forget that I'm using the same water that we have we use every day in our lives, and there's a great mimicry between a sheet of paper and our great planet. So I also share this philosophy, this view not only art is not only about techniques, but also about um, our spiritual conception of life and how you can learn more about your nature, your mind, your emotions, your being, your natural, your own self, right?
I absolutely love that. And it looks like people in chat are agreeing with me. And
Yes.
actually, we have a couple of questions for you too. Something that's actually, let's see, where are we? Um, oh, so first question. Do you think cobalt blue or ultramarine is more appropriate for this scene?
Okay.
Or what blues are you using?
I I was using ultramarine blue for a few years, but later I chose cobalt blue because I love how I can go from the blue to the warm and to the cool temperatures from the cobalt blue. But also I'm aware that the cobalt blue mix up with the yellows and creates some greens in the skies. It's a natural effect you can find. So I think it's up to you. Um, I'm using cobalt blue these days, but it's very personal. I
And
try
then,
not to use a lot of colors because I love how they mix in the paper or in the palette. So
great. And then we also have a question. How do you decide how wet your brush is? Do you have any tips to identify judging the balance between the paint and the water as far as the
there are,
how will impact the strokes?
yes, there are some rules. It's like every art, you have a language that you need to learn how to speak it to use it, but you will only learn this language by painting a lot, because the answer of that question it's here, it's in the intelligence of the body.
Hmm.
It's not in my mind. The hand have to learn it, have to paint a lot, have to make mistakes. I have to even sometimes I cry, when I couldn't learn how to realize how much water, how much paint. Um, so it's an experience, a practical experience. Um, but of course, there are some rules. One of them, for example, is you can go from wet to dry, and from light to dark, and from general to particular.
Hmm.
So if you keep in mind this um, sequence, you can show a lot of information without washing the previous layer and always adding uh, value to the painting. You see that I am not washing my brush in excess because I already done it. I am now just establishing the darks and the elements that will bring the focal point in front of me.
We have comments in the chat saying, I love the way you're building the atmosphere there.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is what I'm trying to share with you in these few moments that I have. make an impression, to distinguish the essence of that that photograph. You know that when I started to paint watercolors, I love to paint everything I see. I love that this realistic approach to it. But as the years came by, I started to learn from the masters how to shut myself as artistically, and start to trusting more in the pigment, the water, and the chemistry of this art. This is a challenge because you have to deal every single minute with mistake, you know? I love that. I really love to be sure that I'm not sure of almost anything. It's not a slogan, eh? You know, people who already know me, who take classes with me, know that I'm 100% true. You know that the background is not already in front of us. I already put over a few layers, and I'm establishing new information, just elements, just shapes. They are not trees or land or water. They are just shapes. Shapes that represent different things for each people. This is a great opportunity that we have also. You can paint for a lot of different people if you are not so literal. If you suggest, tell me.
Oh, I have a question about what you just did with your fingers. I like that. Is that something that you do? Is that like a technique that you use?
Yes, it's a way to blend the shapes. And also it's a way to use your body to stay in touch literally with the paper. Yeah, because you know that this is not my body. This is an external instrument, and it's okay. It's fantastic. But sometimes I like to use my hands and wash the paper or split it. It's very common in watercolor. You will see it everywhere.
I love how intuitive your painting is.
Thank you. I am really enjoying it. Sometimes I enjoy it, and I am not painting well, and sometimes I paint excellent, and I am not having a good time. It's hard to tell how it will go, and I kind of like it anyway.
So do you have days where it's just not working for you?
Because I take a lot of risks, so I commit a lot of mistakes, and it's okay. It's we have to learn every day. For example, this is my first time making of offering a workshop in English, and it's a great adventure for me, and it's a great challenge. And I love to be myself involved in new things.
Oh, Juan, what
Tell me,
is the dark color that you're using right now?
which are my darks?
Yeah, the dark that you've been using for the little rocks, and what color?
Okay. As you can see, this is a mixture of a lot of colors, but I have here a sepia. This is a
Hmm.
Van Dyke brown. I have here white nights, dark. I think it's a black. I think it's a gray, a dark gray from white nights. Here is an indigo blue. I use a lot of indigo blue because it's not a gray, it's not a dark, it's not a black, but it has a lot of shadow information. And I always mixed it with my cobalt blue because the shadows have to be cold, you know.
But we are getting lots of comments in the chat. Absolutely love this. I love the details in the atmosphere. It's stunning. And you are doing an excellent job. And so awesome techniques to get those details, abstraction.
Thank you so much.
This is just.
We'll establish a little.
Oh, and people are saying that your English is great, and I have to agree.
Whoa, this is much more interesting to hear. Yeah. I don't speak English on the daily basis. That's why
I would not know. I really would not know.
You know that when I studied English in my early years, my English teacher told my mother that as I couldn't complete the tasks because I was very, I don't know, I didn't like to do the homework. She couldn't qualify me because she didn't know. But I always did really good with languages. I think it's fun. Okay, this is a stage in which I can take a deep breath. I think I have the work sort of done, and from now on, I don't know how are we with the time.
We are we have 15 minutes left.
Great, excellent. From now on, you can flourish yourself. You can establish some focal points, some elements that help the observer to navigate visually the image. I will use my dryer. If you allow me, I will mute my mic.
Oh, Zoom will mute it for you, so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
And people are saying that they feel like they're inside the painting.
Excellent.
And again, everybody, if you're painting along or even just taking pictures of the process that you're doing, we would love to see it. So I'm going to drop our hashtags and also Lee's Instagram, Juan's Instagram, so that you can share with us. We would just love to see what everybody does. And I'm also going to drop in the link for our Facebook group, which is just for participants of Etchr demos and workshops, where you can again share your work and also see what everybody else has done during the same workshop. You can get feedback if you'd like. or just ooh and ah over everybody's work. So I'm going to drop that in there right now too. And I have to say it's a very, very kind and welcoming group.
Did Zoom muted?
I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay, thank you. As you can see, if I know some people maybe don't have so much experience with watercolor, so I have to tell you this. When the water dries, of course, when the paper dries, the pigments low their intensity almost 40%, you know, or 30%. It's a well-known thing, so I have to use my painting thinking about this, taking it into consideration. So now I have to maybe enhance. It's okay. Enhance a little my focal points, my textures. I used a little plastic here to work with some lines, some white lines that I needed to point out. And I'm working here with some negative painting just to give these trees a little of volume that they they are losing. Okay.
So are you just darkening up some areas here?
Yes.
And we have a question for in the chat. Do you stretch your paper first?
Not in this case, because it's a relative it's a small piece of paper, and it's I don't know in it's 300 grams. I don't know in how you say it in the other measure.
300 pound, 300 gram, 140 pound, I believe.
Yeah, 140. Yeah. So it changed its structure, but not so much. You can see it.
Oh,
I can work it quite because it's a well-crafted paper. Uh, Even though it's worked from the other side too. But generally, when I paint, for example, if I do this other work, and I have to, if I put the tape, of course, you can have this beautiful frame, white frame. I don't need the clamps anymore.
And Juan, we have another question. Do you sometimes use white gouache in your sketchbooks?
I really use them. I almost don't. I only use it when I have to recover some light. But you know, I love the challenge of the strategy of the watercolor in order to prevent the white to being covered. So it's very difficult to see me using the white. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. For example, in this image, the main objects, the objects you can call it by its name, they are dark. You know, it's like the light comes from behind. So sometimes if I need it, I could use white, but here the main focal points are dark. above the light. So I think it's not so necessary. Okay. I don't want to overwork it. This is another tip that I like to share with you. When you said what you needed to say, it's right. It's nice to shut up and and to start to hear the other person. And here it's the same thing. The watercolor needs to be authentic, needs to be spontaneous, and needs to be synthetic. Not to overwork it because you lose transparency, you lose spontaneously, and it shows. Believe me, it shows. The yeah the beautiful about watercolor is that you can't fool it. You can't fool the people with your watercolor. It shows. It shows what you are, what you were feeling. If you were thinking too much, if you were thinking that you were not enough as an artist, and you start to work and to, for example, the the question that I always hear in my beginner uh, class is, how do you correct an error in watercolor? You know, how do you correct that? Because everyone is so afraid to tell mistakes and to uh, the beauty is it's very dangerous. You have to learn how to live with your mistakes and don't don't you know don't overwork the paper. So saying this, I have to say, Kitty, that it's done.
It looks amazing. And we're getting so many wonderful comments in the chat, loving those dark foreground details and that they feel like they're in the photo, in the picture. It is amazing. Are you doing your signature now?
Yes.
Good. And I love how your signature kind of goes along with the entire style of your painting.
Yeah, I try to make it part of it, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's very unobtrusive and it's really lovely. So everybody, if you have questions for Juan before we sign off, we have a few minutes left for our Q&A. Why don't you go ahead and maybe think of some of those questions? And I actually have one from earlier. While you were on your art journey, did you ever feel like you didn't know if you enjoyed art anymore? And the comment continues, I just don't know. If you did, how do you deal with it?
Can you please say it again?
Okay, so while you were on your art journey, did you ever feel like you didn't know if you enjoyed art anymore? And if so, how did you overcome that? How did you deal with that?
Yes, I passed through these stages a lot. I think that sometimes when you are a professional artist, you can put a backpack on your back about the success image that you have in your mind, you know. So sometimes you push too hard on your art, and you stop to enjoy it. So I think it's something that every one of us have to deal with it. Some people have to deal with um, um, the I don't know. Some people have too much confidence in themselves, and they have to deal with the opposite of that. But I have to deal with the self-confidence. I think I'm doing well because I really enjoyed, for example, this demo. I really have enjoyed it, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because I wasn't taught as an artist from child. Uh, I had to build my confidence along the years, trying and talking with another colleagues and friends and making mistakes and I I also started to give classes of watercolor, and I am a teacher from for 5 years. I am a watercolor teacher, but I also started to teach because in that way I recognize the student in me, you
Hmm.
know, and
Yeah,
it's a beautiful way to know that I am always learning. I am always learning. I just have to go with the flow, and every painting that I do is the first time that I do it. This is important. This is
that's a nice
important.
way to look at it. Yeah.
You can see the uh, yes, you can see now the first impression that I had on this image, and the demo that I did just now is completely different.
Hmm.
Completely different. Because I am completely different. It's a new moment. I am new person, and I had fears too. But it's okay. You have to live with it.
Awesome. So I'm going to read some comments from the chat before I move on to the next question. First of all, somebody said you're such a nice person, which I think is just lovely, and I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Also, thank you for sharing your sketchbooks and your beautiful style of art. And this was the demo that I needed to see. Awesome. So I think people have really appreciated what you've done. A couple more questions here. Um, so how did you achieve switching your career path in order to become a full-time artist?
Mm. It was gradual. Um, I when I was studying graphic design, because I studied architecture and then graphic design, and and then I yes, I wanted to do what I enjoyed as a child, so I started to make video games in a video games company here in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And in that phase of my life, I took some classes of drawing because I really love the concept artist, concept artist for films, movies, or video games. And in that moment, somebody, a great artist, recommend me to work with lip models to give my line, my drawing, a little of smoothness and I don't know, to enjoy myself the drawing, and I think I had masters. I studied music, I studied percussion, I studied dance. These were all things that opened my mind to the reality that the things are not as you see it, you know. You have to feel it, you have to sense the texture of the moment. It doesn't matter if you move your body, if you're drawing, if you're painting, if you're cooking, I don't know, but I am very curious. So I think it was a gradual transformation, not just an academic one, because I started my life as an academic path. At some point of my life, I realized that I could decide what to learn, and I could choose. I could choose my teachers, my masters. So I choose music instruments, and of course I took a lot of classes and workshops of painting, and no, not painting, drawing and illustration. I'm part of an illustration collective here in Argentina. We edit a book every year. I don't know, making things. Don't stop. Know yourself. This is the best advice that I can have.
Excellent, thank you. And we have time for one more question before we wrap up. In your process, I find there is no waiting for drying washes. Is that intentionally whole wet on wet? And any strategy to work around without waiting?
Okay, it's a great question. When I feel that I can keep on painting without having to stop to dry, I do it. When I feel that my paint is moist and not ready to receive a new layer, or for example, I need to establish a new layer, well, in that case, I grab the dryer and I use it. But I think that many people as me need to be consistently focused in what we are doing. And in that case, I try to start a painting and finish it as soon as I can in relation to my personal emotional state, you know? So I sets, having said so, I use a lot of dryer. This is a 45 minutes demo, so I tried not to a lot, but this is my way to work.
Excellent. All right. Well, one more time, I am going to drop the links to the mini workshop, which will be on August 8th. And they do sell out. So if you're interested in learning more from Juan, please sign up as soon as you can. Also is our feedback survey, so you can let us know about your experience today so we can continue to bring you content that you would like to see. Or if you just want to give a shout out to Juan and tell him how awesome he was today. And Juan, if you want to bring yourself back up on screen for a moment, that would be great.
Yeah. I was playing with my cams. I love that.
And yeah, so it would be great if you just take a moment. It only takes a few seconds to fill out the survey form, and all of your answers are anonymous. And also, let's thank Juan for all his time today and for sharing all of his wonderful tips and his inspiration. And also, if you'd like to follow Juan on Instagram, it is juan.ian, and I think that's it, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And also tag us at Etchr Studio, showing us what you've done. And thank you everyone for spending your time with us today. Enjoy the rest of your day. And until we see you next time, make more art. Bye,
Thank you
everybody.
so much. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
And Juan, if you could bring your screen back up so we can see your picture again, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yep, excellent. Thank you.
There you go. We are still live, right?
Yep, just one more moment. There we go.